Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, how are my snipers doing today? I hope you guys are doing fantastic. Listen, Bitcoin has continued to drop. However, the reversal may be in, ladies and gentlemen. We talked about how, I don't expect Bitcoin to be going past $91,500, right? Personally, I don't expect that. We should be in this kind of range. And for me, right, right now, there is a huge rejection, right? Huge hourly rejection, which is the first one we've seen in a long time. And it makes sense because when we go on a daily candle, we can see we're pretty much going into the daily order block, right? When we go on the 4 hour, we can see we also did tap into this candle right over here. And we did sweep this liquidity at $92,815. So we can see, right? We tapped into it and instantly momentum shift, right? When you look at any other price action, it just took a very long time. Sideways movement down. Here we tap off instantly up thousands of dollars right away. So what I expect is probably one more retracement back down to roughly $93,500 before we continue going up. Something like this most likely and like this. And if we get this, then for me, that should be it. We know historically, January and February, we are overall pumping. Um, we should have been already pumping in a way, but like I said in the previous video, is that we have way more money in the market, and it's not as easy as just to like move it up, right? It's not that simple. It takes more sideways action. And the reason why sideways action is important is because think about throwing, it's like throwing a ball, right? Imagine having a tennis ball in your hand. If you take your arm back and you throw, you're going to have more momentum. But if you just have your hand out like this and you just do it with your wrist, right? You're not really going to throw it far. So that's how the markets work. That is exactly how the markets work. Pretty much imagine like throwing the ball, right? You need to pull it back to throw it further. And that is the definition of sideways movement in the market. So overall, I am not worried, right? Things don't look the prettiest, of course, but we did say it is like a game of ping pong. And, you know, like I said, we were at the bottom. We swept liquidity here, this red line. Then we pinged off this weekly candle. And then I expected us to go back down to here and to go further up. Now, I will say if we do start breaking below, let's say like the 91,500, 91,000, I will be concerned, right? If we do something like this, I will be concerned because that's going to be very new territory, right? That's going to be new territory for Bitcoin, for altcoins, for everything, right? Technically, we would still be in a uptrend if that were to happen, right? We'd have a low here, and then we would bottom out somewhere here, most likely, right on top of this huge consolidation before we would create another leg, right? I really don't want that to happen because it means things are going to get really stalled out for a very long time, like several more months. And at that point, everything is kind of different. Everything's more in the gray realm, right, of the unknown, right? Kind of want the typical cycle to happen, which I still think it will. So I'm not worried just yet, right? Price action is still fine. We can see some coins are absolutely bleeding, right? This is the top 100 to 200, 30%, minus 20, minus 15%. And then if we go to the top 100, right, we can see some other coins are kind of bleeding heavily. I will say though, one thing I did notice is like, for example, like Myro. Myro is bleeding super heavy. And part of this is just simply for the fact that demand is not that high and price action was really weak. That's something we talked about, right? So in the last whatever amount of time, we dropped 31%. 31% for Myro. Now, if we go to something like Turbo and we look, right, we drop from here to here, it is, it's a decent amount, but right now we are down 20%. And I don't know, I feel like the Myro drops are way harder than something like Turbo, which, we talked about previously, right? We know Turbo's price action is overall strong, right? It is overall strong. It's a coin that has a decent amount of demand. Yes, it's still going to bleed kind of heavily because it is a meme coin at the end of the day. So just as fast as you can go up is just as fast as you can go down. With Turbo, I still expect price to kind of go into 0.0075 area, right? A little bit lower drop could be expected. We did technically tap into, you know, we did sweep this area and we did technically tap back into the 4 hour order block candle. So, buying right now is not the worst. Like it is much cheaper. Like I said, it's 25% cheaper, 25% cheaper than it was just a day ago. So this is why you buy on red days, right? Red days are simply the best. I don't care. I know people panic, but for me, it's just like money in, money in, money in. For me, it's like, oh, instead of making like 8x or 10x or 12x, now I can make like 17x, off the same amount of money. So for me, very, very great buying opportunities. I know some people are juiced at this point, right? Mentally, people are mentally exhausted. People are financially, done. And at this point, I think a lot of people do want just the altcoin season just to start. Um, but you have to realize, this is part of the game. This is part of the game. It's not going to be easy until it is easy. Okay. Once again, it is not going to be easy until it's easy. The only real easy fun time is when we get those like 4 to 6 weeks of just straight green, pretty much, right? In that amount of time, there's only going to be a couple sideways, days, maybe one or two red days, but they're going to be small. And it's just fun. It is just the best time ever. But you got to realize that period, even if you get a month's worth of fun, it took 4 years. 4 years, right? The cycle takes 4 years. So that's how crypto works. That's how trading works. But patience is a virtue. Remember that you will get rewarded as long as you just sell, right? As long as you sell, don't get too greedy when everything's getting pumped. You should be fine, right? We are on the altcoin index pretty much, right? For the market cap, we can see we have dropped a good amount. I could still expect a little bit more of a dump into the 300 billion market cap area. This is technically good enough, right? This is technically good enough because we did sweep this, but the closing is very important now, right? If we start closing somewhere between these two red lines, then technically that is a higher low, which means the point still stands of us looking to push further up, right? Even if, we do break this line over here of 320 like 6 billion, I still think at the end of the day, you know we're just gonna tap into this area, re-break structure, and then go up, right? There's no reason for me to panic just yet or to worry. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, I did literally have like 99% of my net worth invested in this. So if it all blows up, that's going to be a big L for me. But I'm not worried. The data says everything's going to be fine. My faith is all time high. And for me, this is just another buying opportunity. That is it, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I'll talk to you guys next time. Goodbye.